In this problem, what we're going to do is we're going to find the equations that were put together in this piecewise function. So you'll notice here we're already given a graph, and then we've also been given the domain restrictions. And so our goal is we want to figure out all those equations that go with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work with this inner part. I'm going to work and find just this horizontal line because that's the most straightforward one that we can look at. Remember, when you're looking at horizontal lines, it's y equal to a number. And with this one, it already has f of x, or y equals out front. So I just need to know what value that is. It is listed right here. You can see at 2, all of these pieces have a y value of 2. So that would be the equation in the middle here. Next, I want to do is I want to figure out this first piece. I want to figure out, looking at this line here, I want to find that equation. So I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to try and find the slope. Now with this one, if I zoom in here, you can see I have a really good point here and here. So I can actually just count this up and say, okay, we rose 1 and ran 2. So that means what's the slope of that line? 1 over 2, and I can just go ahead and put my x with it. The next thing I can do is try to figure out what this equation would be as it proceeded on and got over here to this y-intercept. Now I'm going to do that by following my equations. So since I already know my m is equal to 1/2, I just need another good point. And I can choose either of those two. I'm going to come in here and let's just use that first one. Let's use this point right here. That's at the point -5, 2. So that means if I'm using -5, 2, this would be my x1 and my y1. So I'm going to say there we go, x1, y1. So I'm going to say y minus y1 equal to m x minus x1, and I'm going to plug in all my values. Sorry about that. Y minus 2 equal to 1/2 x minus -5. And then I have two steps. I need to distribute this 1/2. It gives me y minus 2 equal to 1/2 x plus 5 over 2, and then add the 2 over. Now I'm going to use my on-screen calculator to help me that if need be, and that gives me a value of 9 over 2. And I'm not going to use the decimal, I'm just going to use that improper fraction. So I would say plus 9 over 2. Now we're going to do the same steps for that last piece. I want to now look at this line here and find the slope and the y-intercept. Now this one isn't too bad because if I look at this one from a graphic standpoint, from this point to this point, you can see we're going down 1 and over 1. So it would be 1 over 1, or we could just say 1x. And this one we can actually backtrack and go up 1, over 1, and we can kind of see what this line is looking at. And it has a nice y-intercept at +2. Now, although this line does not exist, let me do some erasing. Although this line does not exist over in this area, this does help me to figure out what that equation was once I gave that domain restriction. So a couple different ways we can approach it looking at line 1, 2, and 3, but I hope this helps with this problem. Oh, real quick before you go, did you catch the error that I made? Don't forget, we do need a negative on that 1 because I was going down 1 and over 1, so that's a negative slope. So don't forget your tiny little negative there. Hopefully you already caught that the first time I wrote it.